Welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today, we're diving into the detailed world of NFTs and the marketplace mechanics behind buying and selling these digital assets.
I'm really excited to get into this. So NFTs, they're these unique tokens that, encapsulate art, music, virtual land, and even in-game collectibles, right?
Exactly. You know, they're one-of-a-kind cryptographic digital assets, and each token has its own metadata and unique identifier on the blockchain, which makes them not interchangeable, unlike, say, dollars or
Yep.
stocks.
Right, so it's like each NFT is its own masterpiece, even if the associated image or music file is widely shared online, because it serves as an authenticated certificate of ownership.
Absolutely. And that authentication is what makes them special. I mean, think of it like a digitally signed autograph that says, "This is the original." It gives digital assets an entirely new dimension of value.
Yeah, it's definitely a step forward in modern finance and art distribution. But how does one actually get started with buying these tokens?
So, the process begins by getting your crypto wallet set up, which is essential because you need a wallet to securely store digital assets and interact with NFT marketplaces.
Right, and there are different types of wallets to choose from, like hosted, non-custodial, and even hardware wallets, each with its own set of features and risks.
Exactly, yeah. Hosted wallets, sometimes called custodial wallets, are super user-friendly because a third party handles the security for you, much like a bank. But you sacrifice a bit of autonomy and often your anonymity because you might need to do KYC verification.
Oh, I see. And then you also have non-custodial wallets that give you full control over your private keys and transactions, albeit with the responsibility of remembering your seed phrases, which can be a bit nerve-wracking if you lose them.
Right, exactly. It's like having your own safe at home. You've got to remember the code. And if you forget it, well, there's no backup service to save the day.
Yeah. And then there's the hardware wallet for those who want to deal with cold storage. Basically, an offline device that is a bit more secure, though not as convenient for fast trades.
Precisely, you really have options depending on how much security versus convenience you need. Once you've got that set up and a bit of Ethereum loaded, you can connect your wallet to an NFT marketplace.
Which brings us to the marketplaces. These platforms all work a bit differently, don't they? Some are auction-based, others offer fixed prices, and there are NFT drops that go super fast.
Absolutely. And it's like, depending on what you're after, you can choose an auction system. For instance, an English auction where the highest bid wins, or even a Dutch auction where the price decreases over time until someone takes the plunge.
Yeah, right. Even the idea of NFT drops is pretty high stakes. You got to be quick and have your crypto wallet topped off so you don't miss out on these rare collectibles.
Exactly. It's a bit like trying to get a ticket to a sold out concert. If you hesitate even for a moment, you might lose out, which reflects the social and even status element of owning an NFT.
Speaking of status, the content really highlights that buying NFTs isn't just about owning art. It's also about bolstering your social capital within the crypto community.
True, and it's pretty interesting how the NFTs connect financial and social capital. Essentially, collectors aren't just owning a digital file. They're joining a specific community or tribe that values that token as a symbol of exclusivity.
Right? And that community aspect can be a driving force behind the value, sometimes even more so than the visual appeal of the art itself.
Yes, it's like you might have a JPEG sitting on your screen, but its true value comes from being recorded on the blockchain and having this kind of secure, verified connection to a creator or artist.
And it's important to note, collectors don't actually own the copyright for the content, right? The copyright stays with the creator, even if they earn royalties on secondary sales.
Exactly. When a collector buys an NFT, they're essentially buying a unique token that represents ownership, like the digital first edition of a work, but the underlying intellectual property remains with the artist.
Yeah, that's an interesting, almost philosophical twist. I mean, it's like owning a first edition book versus owning the rights to the story.
Exactly, exactly. And turning to selling NFTs, there are two main scenarios. One where a creator mints and sells their own NFT, and another where a collector resells an NFT they previously bought.
So, for creators, minting is the process where their work becomes an NFT on the blockchain, a kind of digital birth certificate for their art, right?
Yes, that's it. When the artist mints an NFT, they essentially sign it, usually paying a gas fee, and then it's recorded forever. Plus, many platforms let them set up a royalty percentage, so they can earn commissions every time that token gets sold in the future.
I really like that part. It ensures that creators continue to benefit from their work even after the initial sale, which is a huge shift from traditional art markets.
Absolutely. But here's something that gets a bit tricky. While creators get this lifelong passive income stream, collectors on the secondary market don't really get royalties. They simply own and then resell the asset.
Right. So collectors need to be more strategic about timing their exit, since they're buying primarily for ownership or status, rather than ongoing returns.
Yeah, it's very much a double-edged sword. On one hand, collectors might get a nice profit if the NFT appreciates, but on the other, they don't earn future royalties. It's a fair exchange in a way, but I wonder if that creates imbalances in incentives.
I can see that. I mean, creators consistently get a cut on every sale while collectors only get like a one-time transaction benefit. Do you think that might lead to some tension as the market develops?
That's a good point. It can be argued that the structure inherently favors creators, and while that's empowering for artists, it might challenge traditional resale market dynamics. It's an interesting debate around fairness and long-term sustainability in the NFT space.
Right. And speaking of transactions, the whole concept of gas fees is pretty crucial too, isn't it? They're necessary for processing transactions on the blockchain, yet they can vary wildly.
Exactly. Gas fees are payments made to process these transactions securely, but they can fluctuate a lot based on network congestion, which sometimes makes
Yep.
that final cost more unpredictable for buyers.
Yeah, and that volatility can make it challenging to gauge the overall cost of an NFT purchase. It's like shopping during a wildly unpredictable sale event, where the final checkout price might not be what you expected.
Precisely. And that's why smart buyers always ensure they have a bit of extra crypto in their wallets to cover any gas fee surprises.
Right, and it's also a rationale behind the fixed price buy now options some marketplaces offer, providing a more predictable purchasing experience compared to auctions or drops where timing and fees can vary.
Exactly. And each NFT marketplace tends to have its own quirks and supported standards, and some are built on Ethereum while others might be on blockchains like Polkadot or Binance Smart Chain, which can offer different fee structures and functionalities.
So, if you're looking to dive into the NFT world, you really need to do your homework on which marketplace fits your niche and risk tolerance.
Yes, absolutely. Plus, knowing whether you're dealing with a primary market sale from a freshly minted token or purchasing on the secondary market is key. It directly affects not only pricing, but also ownership rights and potential future royalties for the creator.
And that distinction really underlines the innovation behind NFTs. They're not just digital pictures, they're complex financial instruments entwined with social status, community, and even future revenue streams for artists.
Right on. And if you'll allow me to add a bit of a critique here, while the concept is revolutionary, the NFT space is still quite volatile and sometimes overly hyped. There's a lot of speculative behavior, which can lead to rapidly shifting values.
Absolutely. And that volatility can scare off everyday collectors who might otherwise appreciate the art for its own sake. It's definitely a market that requires a level of caution and savvy.
Exactly. And staying informed and being prepared for the inherent fluctuations are essential. But overall, the democratization of art and media through NFTs gives a lot of power back to individual creators, which is a pretty revolutionary shift in how the creative economy operates.
That's right. It really empowers artists by, bypassing traditional middlemen like galleries and auction houses, allowing them to connect directly with their audience.
Yeah, and with all these mechanisms in place, from wallet choices and auction types to fixed pricing, the NFT marketplace offers a rich ecosystem for both creators and collectors to innovate and engage.
For sure. And as the space matures, we'll likely see even more refined protocols for trading, even better security measures, and perhaps some adjustments to how royalties and secondary sales are handled to balance incentives across the board.
Definitely. It's like we're just at the beginning of this evolution in digital ownership, and there's so much potential for growth and change. It's an exciting time for both the art world and crypto enthusiasts alike.
Absolutely. Thanks for the deep dive into NFT marketplaces, the intricacies of buying and selling, and the various wallet solutions. It's been a fascinating journey through this digital frontier.
Thanks for joining in on the conversation. Stay curious and keep exploring this innovative space.